Welcome back, all you aspiring entrepreneurs. Today, we're going to talk about how to build your startup brand from scratch. And if you're watching this and you don't have a startup company, but rather you're thinking about your personal brand, good news, the same things apply. Whether it's your startup or your personal brand, your brand is about so much more than a logo or the colors you pick. It's your entire identity. My name is Amanda Rabideau, founder and CEO of Arch Collective. Over the last 5 years, while running my marketing agency, we have built brands for dozens of startup companies. I'm going to share with you a few easy steps to help get you started to build your brand. With that in mind, let's dive in. Step 1, define your brand identity. Ask yourself a couple easy questions. What are your core values? What makes you unique? And if you're struggling to answer these questions, jot down those questions in an email and send it over to 5 people that know you well and that you trust. Once you get their input, or once you have your input and your answers, create a brand mission statement. This should reflect who you are and what you stand for. Next up, know your audience. It may seem counterintuitive that you need to understand your audience to create your brand. But hear me out. Conduct market research to understand your target audience's pain points, needs, desires, dreams, wishes, everything. The more you understand your target audience, the better you can apply and adapt your brand to suit their needs. Then tailor your brand messaging to resonate with them. Next up, create your visual identity. This is the part that a lot of people just automatically assume about brand. It's the colors, the logo, the visual aesthetic. And yes, this is super important, just like the messaging and as well as understanding your mission statement. So how do you begin to develop your visual brand? You should incorporate what you've learned from your market research about your target audience. Is a very simple example. What if you know that your target audience has an aversion to the color red? Well, it's probably not a good idea that your visual brand should incorporate a lot of red into it, because your visual identity contains multiple things, including your logo, your color palette, imagery, typography, or your font selection. Think about anything that someone will see reflecting you or your company. That is part of your visual brand identity. Next up, develop your brand voice. Now, this is something that people often do not think about, but how you respond to comments on social media, the tone of voice that you take on your social posts, or even the way that you present yourself on video content, this is all your brand voice. Again, here are some questions to ask yourself. How do you want to communicate with your audience? Do you want it to be formal, friendly, quirky, professional? Whatever your answers may be, make sure that your tone is consistent across all platforms. If you're not consistent, it can be confusing to the end user or the end observer. For example, if you write a post that's really quirky or unique or funny and sarcastic, and then you have a video where you're very buttoned up and professional, it's going to confuse people and they're not going to know if they can trust you or your brand. Finally, it's time to bring your brand to the market. What good is building a brand if there's no one to see it or engage with it? Why not build your online presence? Even if you're someone who's not into social media, you can do this in a lot of different ways. Build a website, create a blog, start a video podcast, or even a YouTube channel. Fair. YouTube is often considered social media too. Either way, your online presence is often the first impression that potential customers will have. So be consistent and be sure to use all the elements of your brand that you've engaged with. Building a brand takes time and effort, but I promise you it is worth it. What's your biggest brand challenge? Share in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel.